Hello, my name is Gavin, and this is my Newell's model of constraints presentation. So the Newell's model of constraints, it uses individual, environmental, and task constraints that limit or discourage certain types of movement, and the model itself studies the relationships among all three constraints. So here's it broken down a little bit more. Individual constraints have structural and functional. So individual structural is the physical characteristics of an individual, like their height, their weight, their muscle mass, or their arm or leg length. Individual functional is the mental characteristics of a person. It's their motivation, their previous experiences, or their confidence in the ability at hand. Environmental constraints have physical and sociocultural. Environmental physical are the characteristics of the environment, like the temperature, the humidity, the gravity, the surfaces of the playing field or wherever the task is being carried out at. Environmental sociocultural is the cultural and social norms of a sport. It can involve your family, what they say or think towards you, and the way it affects you and how you carry out your task, or gender roles, and there's many more. Task constraints relate to specific goals and requirements of the activity or movement at hand. So it's like the rules of the activity, the equipment that's used in specific sports, and the goal of what you're trying to accomplish. My individual structural constraint. So growing up, I was very much overweight, and I still am overweight, especially compared to many of my peers and teammates. I grew up playing baseball and even continued playing baseball through high school. So I was never a coach's choice when it came to base running, but I was often given like the stereotypical title of slugger or something like that, something you give a bigger baseball kid. And this is both positive and negative. It allowed me to fill my role as a slugger and not have being overweight as a disadvantage necessarily. Being overweight obviously isn't something that I inherited, but was kind of nurtured into. I have an overweight family, and it's kind of a nature versus nurture, and I was nurtured into kind of an overweight lifestyle. My individual functional constraint. So I've always had a good confidence in my movement abilities and my athleticness. As I got older and I took on more serious training programs, I had enough confidence in myself that I finally tried playing football. So I grew up playing baseball, and then in high school I tried out football as well. Environmental physical constraint, I used driving as my example. So since I started driving around 15, 16, I've always been a car enthusiast. I've always enjoyed driving, and the environmental physical constraint are the roads in which I drive on. Denton is a much older town with many poor quality old roads, but I still take my classic car out here, my Mustang here, and drive around Denton regularly. Even with these poor condition roads, I don't let it stop me from having fun and enjoying driving around. Environmental sociocultural constraint for me. So from K to 12 years, just growing up, I've lived in 6 different states, and due to that variation in states, I've faced different norms at each place I've been to, and it affected me just differently based on what state I was living in, and I had to insert myself into different athletic and social roles, and to overcome this, I adapted quickly and just allowed myself to fit in where I was comfortable, no matter the situation changing around me. My task constraint, so going to UNT, I personally like to wear Vans. They're stylish to me, and they're not the most comfortable shoe, especially being a college student at a big campus like the University of North Texas. I have to walk around a lot, and Vans are not the most comfortable shoe to get around in, but I like the style. I can deal with the blisters, so even though I'm not really overcoming it, I'd much rather deal with the blisters and be comfortable, or I guess I should say happy with the shoes I'm wearing. Thank you for watching.